Today, one of the most expensive things to buy in Nigeria is food. As at July 2024, food inflation rose to about 40%, triggering what has been described as severe hunger crisis in the country. Now, as the country struggles to feed its citizens, Just Nigeria's Ayuba Iliya visits Plateau, Benue, Imo, and Lagos states to find out how post-harvest losses are crippling your ability to get food. Have a look.
At the point where the country is actually still struggling to produce enough food to feed itself, but at the same time, a lot of the food that's being produced as well also go to waste.
Studies show 30 to 50% of food produced in Nigeria goes to waste.
We don't have solar systems to, dry those things really fast. You end up having fungi on those crops.
While some farmers and food retailers resort to harmful food preservation practices, the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control warns against compromising food safety. So, what exactly happens before the food you eat gets to your table? In north-central Nigeria's Plateau State, 30-year-old Sanjay Emmanuel strives to sustain his family by farming cereals and vegetables. But Sanjay says his financial situation hasn't seen much changes in the last 10 years due to continuous seasonal losses.
You are depending on this harvest to probably take some to the market to get fertilizer for the next season. But by the time you are incurring such losses, you can't now go fully in next season. So if you take to the market and it's selling at a very low price, already that's a loss financially. And now we don't have a method of preserving these crops to say, okay, we can keep them in a cold room. Since basically vegetables now, we can't keep them in a cold room and later sell. So they will just perish, and that's a big loss on the farmer side now.
For Ondo Mbanyo in Makurdi, capital of north-central Nigeria's Benue state, the challenges of moving his banana harvest to the market sometimes results in losses.
When you harvest the banana from the farm and you could not get vehicle to convey you to the market, it got perish, as it is a perishable commodity. It is not something that you can dry it or fry it and keep. Once you harvest it from farm, you are expected to sell and get money. So that is the only way you can preserve it. You can sell it and maybe keep the money in your account.
To avoid losses, some farmers and food marketers resort to desperate preservation means that often compromise food safety. The Nigerian Economic Summit Group says at least 200,000 Nigerians die annually from food poisoning, with foodborne diseases costing the country $3.6 billion. There are currently an estimated 1,000 refrigerated trucks across Nigeria, but experts say the country needs about 25,000 refrigerated trucks to successfully move about 11 million metric tons of fresh fruits and vegetables. From Faringada Market in Jos, Plateau State, hundreds of trucks are loaded with food items daily. This truck is headed for Lagos, Nigeria's commercial hub. But if anything goes wrong, the 16-hour journey may turn into days, resulting in huge losses for food marketers like Nuruddin Hashim.
Yesterday, they sell our goods that the motor spoiled on the road for over 3 days. The tomatoes spend 5 days from here to the market. Why does it spend 5 days? Because of the poor road transportation. Motor spoil on the road. They send another motor from Lagos to come to Ilori so that they will reload it to the other motor. But due to go slow, the motor spend more than 24 hours. It does not reach to where our motor is.
Nigeria's notoriously bad and mostly unsafe road network is always a source of concern for food transporters. After being on the road for 2 days, Oandoso Tiouna barely escaped an attack by bandits between Jatoka to Makurdi in Benue State.
I run reef motor. So now they come break this my glass like this. So as they break, now I can't carry my motor. And as I they come, I saw the water they follow me, they come via one road safety. This road safety for my calling myself, they can't hold me. They collect my money like 5,000 naira before I come pass.
Inadequate storage and poor road safety remain two major causes of post-harvest losses in Nigeria.
So climate change also is changing the pattern. Extreme temperature can affect how fast food can go bad.
In 2021, the United Nations reported that Nigeria had the highest amount of food wasted per person in Africa. A 2021 report by anti-poverty organization ActionAid estimated Nigeria's annual post-harvest losses at 3.5 trillion naira. This comes to 94.6 billion naira per state, including the Federal Capital Territory. Experts believe reducing post-harvest losses would mitigate Nigeria's 39% food inflation.
Farmers are judged poor and incapable of really putting in the system that will mitigate this loss decisively. So government is supposed to create the enabling environment. That's why you have the raw material, stored raw material and all that institute.
After you harvest, within that time of harvesting, handling at the post-harvest stage and before it gets to market requires a lot of infrastructure to actually store those food. But oftentimes, this innovation and technology are always expensive and out of reach of smallholder farmers to be able to afford.
Farmers who do not have access to safe food storage or do not have access to, just a basic storage facility may have the tendency to cut corners and start storing food in an healthy manner. So one of the ways to curb this is to make sure farmers have access to low-cost storage facilities.
In 2009, the federal government constructed 33 1.3 million metric ton silos to preserve grains. However, reports indicate that many of these silos are either operating below capacity or not operational. In Plateau State, authorities admit government silos are not in operation, but that efforts are ongoing to create food preservation and processing hubs that will reduce losses for farmers.
We are looking at it carefully, and that's why we've established a company called Placom, the Plateau Commodities Company, that will offtake, so that we can reduce the post-harvest losses. We're also looking at putting greenhouses in some of those markets, and training our people also in post-harvest handling.
Benue State is Nigeria's leading producer of soybeans, cassava, mangoes, and oranges. Authorities there say measures have been taken to preserve these crops.
The government has provided silos and then thematic storage bags. The food that are wasted are dumped in a pit in a location. And then when they have gotten rotten, other farmers go and now use them as source of organic fertilizer. We have created awareness to farmers to stop food wastages. We recover excess produce from farmers.
So this one's
Kempia Deshi is an associate professor of plant physiology, cytogenetics, and plant breeding. In her home garden in Jos, Plateau State, she grows varieties of fruits and vegetables for subsistence and commercial purposes. She shares some tips on local preservation methods.
So this is my own local storage. Now if you come into the store, I'm sure you will also feel how cool the store is. I told you that the roof, I use bamboo. That's why I said the store is made out of local material. So it has a way of keeping cool all through the day and it helps in keeping my potato and other vegetables.
Leveraging her expertise, Kempia has adopted the diffuse light store innovation for food preservation, but this isn't the reality for many farmers. Elsewhere, Nemeka Ikegwonu, a radio broadcaster, was in 2013 inspired to start building cold rooms across Nigeria after learning the reality of food wastage through his radio program.
Today we are operating 58 cold rooms in 28 states of Nigeria. We are building 45 new ones, and we are serving 9,000 farmers plus. Last year we saved 3.6 million kilograms of food that should go to spoilage.
Nemeka's cold rooms are also climate friendly.
Because we are entirely on solar, we don't use diesel generators or the grid. We saved about 3.9 million kilograms of CO2 last year alone.
Experts say Nigeria needs at least 10,000 cold rooms across the country to drastically reduce food wastage. However, inadequate investment, lack of access to land and skilled personnel remain major challenges for the industry.
Farmers will need finance to be able to put this kind of innovation or systems in place. So we need to also encourage that space where there can be some kind of investment that support post-harvest management practices, innovation and technology.
We need to work on our energy. We need to work on our transportation. We need to do on infrastructure. Work on infrastructure for even dry storage. People should, raise finance to be able to have that. Maybe have cooperatives so that you can have storage for a certain kind of crop for a number of people. People will put resources together and do it. And then also seek out seed types that have long shelf life.
Farmers should also begin to plan their production seasons and not just producing without the knowledge of the markets.
Connect farmers to market. From the point of production, you should have a structured market in mind that's willing to work with you to actually offtake some of those produce. And that's the way you can guarantee that your produce is not sitting on the farm.
As Nigeria aims to address food sufficiency, several programs have been introduced to increase food production. But to effectively curb food inflation, experts insist that equal attention is required in preventing post-harvest losses for farmers like Saje and Ondohemba, who are at the heart of Nigeria's food production value chain. Ayuba, Iliya, Just Nigeria.
Not producing enough food is a problem. Wasting the little we produce is a much bigger problem. Be part of this conversation. Tweet at us on X at Just Nigeria TV. Would like to hear from you.